Okay, let's talk about maybe the most important number in your entire financial life. That first $100,000. I know, it sounds huge. It can feel like it's a million miles away. But what if I told you there's a clear, repeatable path to get there, and it's probably a lot faster than you think?
You ever feel like you're somehow paying for a subscription to Broke Life Premium? I mean, you definitely didn't sign up for it, but the bill seems to come every single month. You're working hard, you feel like you're doing all the right things, but your savings account, it's just stuck. Well, the good news is, today, we're going to find that cancel subscription button and we're going to press it for good.
So, let's get into this number. 100 grand. This isn't just some fantasy figure from a movie. It is a critical turning point. This is the exact moment where your money stops just sitting there and actually gets a job of its own, where it starts earning money for you. It's when that whole compound interest thing everyone talks about really starts to catch fire.
The legendary investor Charlie Munger famously said this, and you know what? It is the absolute truth. Getting to that first 100K is the toughest, most brutal part, because you are building the entire foundation of your financial future, basically brick by painful brick, with your own two hands. Because after this, momentum starts to take over.
So here's our game plan. First, we're going to dig into why that 100K mark is such a big deal. Then, we'll look at how to maximize every single dollar you have coming in. After that, we'll get into the simple rules for smart investing. And finally, we'll talk about the big lifestyle levers that make all the difference.
All right, let's kick things off with the why. Why is this first leg of the journey so much harder than the rest? Well, it all comes down to where the growth is actually coming from.
See, when you're just starting out, every single dollar that goes into your account, it's coming from your paycheck, maybe a side hustle, just your own sweat and effort. You are doing all the heavy lifting. Your money, it's pretty much just a spectator sitting on the sidelines.
This right here shows you the massive shift. At $5,000, a pretty good 10% return is what, $500 for the year? It's pocket change. But at $100,000, that same 10% return is an extra $10,000 a year. Your money is no longer just sitting there, it's earning a real salary. This is what we call financial escape velocity, and it's the reason the next $100,000 is so much easier to get.
So how do we get that initial snowball built up? Well, we've got to gather as much snow as we possibly can as fast as we can. This next part is all about plugging leaks and finding what is basically free money by using systems that are already in place to jumpstart your savings from day one.
Okay, this is probably the biggest cheat code in all of personal finance: tax-advantaged accounts. Think of things like a 401k or an IRA. The absolute simplest way to think about them is this: the government is literally giving you an upfront discount just for investing in your future.
Let's make this super real. Let's say you're in the 22% federal tax bracket, which, by the way, is really common for a lot of people.
So for every $1,000 you put into your traditional 401k, you instantly save $220 on your taxes for that year. Think about that. It only costs you $780 from your take-home pay to invest a full $1,000. That's a huge, immediate, guaranteed return you can't get anywhere else. But believe it or not, it gets even better. And this right here is, without a doubt, the single best deal you will ever find in finance: the Employer 401k match. It is the highest guaranteed return on your money. Period. Full stop.
Just think about this for a second. If you make $50,000 a year and your job matches 50% of what you put in, up to 6%, you put in $3,000 and they just hand you an extra $1,500 for free. It's free money. Not taking this is literally like walking up to your boss and saying, you know what, I'd actually prefer not to have that raise you're offering me. It's crazy. Okay, so you've got money flowing into your accounts. You're getting your free match. Now what? What do you actually do with it? Let's cover the simple, powerful, and honestly kind of boring rules for making that money grow for the long haul.
So a lot of companies you invest in will pay out these little cash payments called dividends. You have a choice. You can take the cash, or you can automatically reinvest it to buy even more shares. And you want to reinvest it, always. Reinvesting turns your little snowball into a giant, unstoppable compounding machine. That little difference you see on the chart, it looks small now, but over a few decades, that's the gap between I'm doing okay and a truly comfortable retirement.
Now, we need to talk about the silent killer of your investment returns: fees. Just like your gains compound for you, fees compound against you. A tiny difference in fees, we're talking less than 1%, can literally cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars over your lifetime. The fix? It's so simple. Just stick to low-cost, broad market index funds.
Everyone thinks they can be a genius. They think they can outsmart the market, sell right before a big crash, buy right at the bottom. But the data on this is crystal clear. It's a loser's game. Get this, if you just miss the 10 best days in the market over a 30-year period, your total returns get cut in half. And the crazy part? The best days almost always happen right after the absolute worst days. So just stay in the market.
So what's the actual plan? Honestly, it's almost embarrassingly simple. We're not trying to get rich quick here. We're trying to get rich for sure. Just buy a low-cost S&P 500 index fund. With one single purchase, you instantly own a tiny piece of over 500 of the biggest, most successful companies in America. You don't need to be a genius. You just need to be consistent and let capitalism do the heavy lifting for you.
Okay, this last section, this is arguably the most powerful one of all. Forget about skipping your daily latte. That's not what moves the needle. Real, serious financial progress comes from getting the handful of big decisions right.
This right here, this is the trap that almost everyone falls into. It's called lifestyle inflation. You get a raise, so you get a slightly nicer apartment. You get another raise, hey, time for a nicer car. And before you know it, you're earning double what you used to, but you're still somehow living paycheck to paycheck. The real key is to make a conscious choice to invest the difference every time your income goes up.
So where's the biggest opportunity to free up cash? For most of us, it is right here. Housing is almost always the single largest expense in our budget. I mean, sometimes it eats up half of your income, but that also means it's the single most powerful lever you can pull to free up huge chunks of cash for investing.
Now look, this does not mean you have to live in a cardboard box. It just means making a strategic, temporary sacrifice to get ahead. Get roommates for a couple years, move to a neighborhood that's a little less expensive, or you could even look into something called house hacking, where you buy a duplex or a triplex, live in one unit, and have your tenant's rent pay your mortgage. I'm telling you, cutting your housing costs by even a few $100 a month can dramatically speed up your path to 100K.
All right, let's put it all together. This is your master plan. This is the engine that's going to build your wealth. First, you maximize all the free money you can get from tax savings and your employer match. Second, you invest that money simply and consistently into low-cost index funds. Third, you avoid the big, costly mistakes like high fees and trying to time the market. Fourth, you get a handle on your biggest expenses, which are housing and your general lifestyle. And finally, you automate the whole thing so it just runs in the background without you even thinking about it.
When it comes down to it, every dollar you save and invest today isn't really a sacrifice. It's a gift. It's a gift that you're giving to the person you're going to be in 10, 20, or 30 years. That future version of you, they're counting on the decisions you make right now. So the only question left is, what kind of gift are you going to give them?